Yeah, so obviously, anyone that bought a ticket, I do apologise. You know, it was quite heartbreaking actually not being on this fight card. You know, so it's kind of bittersweet. Obviously, it's nice to be here, but you know, kind of being a part of the event all week, but not being able to fight, you know, it kind of stings a little bit. But so I had a detached retina at the start of the year, and the doctor cleared me to fight, cleared me to spar, cleared me to fight. Everything was going well. I was having a great camp. And then I stepped into the octagon one day and to do some training, and my vision had kind of gone just a little weird, very strange, and I knew something was wrong. And then progressively throughout the day, the vision got worse and worse. So I went to the doctor and he looked at it. He said straight away, yeah, it's redetached. He said, so we need to operate straight away. I said, well, you can't operate because I'm fighting in 4 weeks. He said, well, if you don't operate now, you're going to go blind. I said, well, I've got to fight. So he thought about it for a minute, and then he said, well, what we could do is do the operation tomorrow. We'll put some gel and a type of oil into your eye and hold it all together. He said, give it a few days, take it easy, and you can still fight. I said, okay, cool, that's what we'll do. So we did that. We had the surgery the next day, and when we went in there, the damage was worse than what they thought. There was a lot of scar tissue that they had to remove. They had to remove a piece of retina, apparently. I'm not sure if that's the technical term. But yeah, that's what they said. And they said you can't do anything physical for 3 months. So obviously the fight was off. So, but now the healing process is going very well. Doctor actually said to me a few days ago, I must have a guardian angel looking out for me because the healing is going so well. I'm still kind of blind in this eye. You know, I can't see, unless I look at Carly there, I can't see it at all. But it's getting there, the same within 5 months, I should be back. So, you know, I'll be back soon. Next.
5 months back in training or back to fight?
Yeah, well, this is the thing, you know, so I'm looking after myself now. I'm training, I mean, I'm not MMA training, I'm running every day, I'm lifting weights. I'm not using this as an excuse to sit on my backside for 5-6 months and do nothing, put weight on and feel sorry for myself. If anything, this has actually made me hungry and more determined because there's a lot I still have to achieve in this sport. You know, if time was called on my career, you know, I'd be pretty upset at the way it ended. So I'm going to make sure I keep my weight down, I'm going to put on some muscle, I'm going to come back bigger, better, stronger, and all the other cliches that people say, but I am going to do that. And so when they say I can go, you know, I'm not going to need 2 months to get ready for a fight, I'll just need a few weeks. But yeah, 5 months I think before I can really, you know, get punched in the face again, let's put it like that. Carly?
Yeah.
What about your eye?
My eyes are fine. I've got vision. The oxygen is actually.
Anybody else?
Val.
Do you do the Ultimate Fight in the UK, which you said you would do it? Would you want to coach against any ideas or?
Yeah, you talking about on Beyond the Octagon last night. Yeah, somebody asked about a UK version of the Ultimate Fighter, which I think is long overdue. In America, that's kind of what really propelled the sport into the limelight, you know. And yes, we've had, you know, we get the Ultimate Fighter over here, but it's not been the same as having a real British Ultimate Fighter with, you know, a lot of British talent and British coaches set in England, things like that. I think that would really help. And I just said last night, you know, I would love to do that. I'd love to be a coach. I'd love to be involved with the show. But to answer your question, I'm not sure. You know, I mean, there's lots of great fighters at middleweight. You know, so it's that would be down to the UFC. That's even if they want to put me on the Ultimate Fighter again. I'm pretty sure people are sick of looking at me. So you never know. Might be someone else.
Nick Diaz, potential opponent when you come back?
Yeah, so Nick Diaz, the whole thing with that. I mean, in some ways, you've got to try and stay current. I thought if I send a little tweet out about Nick Diaz, that'll get people's attention. But my word, it went crazy. No, but I'm going to drop him in it now because he drops me in it sometimes. But John Joe from Fighters Only magazine told me that he was talking to him, and Nick Diaz said he wanted to fight me. I said, oh great, well, if Nick Diaz wants to come to middleweight, then I'll happily welcome him to the division. And yeah, it was all over every website, you know, you can think of. But apparently he doesn't want to do it, so, you know, I'm not targeting Nick Diaz. I have nothing against Nick Diaz. Actually, he's a fun fighter. I like watching him fight, so... would
have been a good fight.
Would have been good. Well, it would have been good for me. Yeah. Probably not so good for Nick Diaz. You know, we all have opinions. Anybody? You know, we have tickets to give away, by the way, for the best questions, but only if you ask questions and make it entertaining for everybody. You know.
Tim Cole's two white folks did last UFC card. Are you all down with the most now about the fighters who are carving off?
Yeah, you know, excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. I've got a little head cold right now. Yeah, no, Saturday night, so Tim Cole's was fighting, he got poked in the eye twice, and I must admit when I was watching it, I was thinking, you know, I was cringing a little bit because, you know, my eyes aren't too good right now. There's not a lot you can do, you know what I mean? You need the fingerless gloves because of the grappling that's involved, but I think the design of the gloves could possibly be better, you know, maybe some kind of, I don't know, stretchy fabric or something that kind of pulls your fingers in a little bit, you know, and if you wanted to make an open fist, you'd have to use the strength in your hand to open it. I'm sure, I'm not a designer, but that doesn't sound too hard. You know, we can invent televisions and things like that. I'm sure we can, you know, design a glove that kind of pulls your fingers in. So I think that would solve the problem because people try and push you know, nobody means to poke anybody in the eye. You know, I poked Alan Belcher in the eye. That's, you know, I was winning the fight clearly. You're not going to try and poke them, but when they come into striking zone, sometimes you might try and give them a push, and then that's, you know, obviously when the eye pokes occur. Let's have a question for Carla. It's not easy walking around the octagon. You know, one foot in front of the other with a sign. That's a real skill. Come on.
Come on. Oh, me, by far, yeah. His arms. I will.
What's been your favourite moment with being with the UFC?
My favourite moment? Oh, everything is like a good moment actually. I mean, I've done Wembley, I did Sweden. This one should be a good one. So every fight has been a really good time for me. So best fight, oh, that's a tricky one. Everyone's good. Oh, I can't pick. They're all that good. I know, actually. Well, yeah. Michael's good.
I don't think you've ever worked on one of mine.
I've seen, I have watched. Amazing, so.
Who's going to be your partner in crime sat next to you? At the,
I'm all by myself.
Really?
It's just going to be little old me. Okay. Yeah, so.
There's a job going if anyone's interested.
Yeah, there you go. You can join me if you want to.
I'd look great in the little red outfit.
Yeah, you can put the red outfit.
I can see you in that.
Definitely.
So, pretty nice. Yeah, I like that.
Apart from yourself, who do you think's like the biggest threat in the middleweight division at the minute?
Excuse me. Well, I think obviously, well, Mashida's come down. He's fighting here Saturday night. If I'm honest, I think I see Machida winning that fight pretty easily. I might be underestimating Mark Munoz, and I never do that, but I obviously saw myself winning that fight quite easily. Mark Munoz is a tough guy, you know, etc. But I just think anyone with good movement, you know, with reasonable takedown defence and good striking will beat him. And you know, Lyoto Machida, his footwork's going to be far too good for him, and his striking is definitely far too good. And he's actually a good wrestler, so I see Machida winning that fight. And Machida is definitely an interesting addition to the middleweight division. Obviously, Weidman and Anderson Silva are fighting at the end of the year. I think Weidman will still have the title after that fight. I think Weidman wins. Excuse me. Pardon me. Yeah, so I think Weidman will still be the champ. Fingers crossed, you never know. Weidman injured himself and came back and got an immediate title shot. So if anybody from the UFC is listening, I'm injured and I can come back and get an immediate title shot. I'd love to fight Anderson Silva. You know, to be in the UFC and compete alongside him for so long. You know, yeah, exactly, and not fighting. You know, Anderson Silva's going to go down in history as one of, you know, a Muhammad Ali type fighter. You know, so when you're older and your grandkids are watching old footage and things like that, I can say, yeah, I fought that guy. Whether I win or lose, it'd be an honour to fight that guy. So I would like to do that, but obviously I'm focused on the belt. You know, so if Weidman's got the belt, then that's the guy I'd rather fight.
Right.
Yes.
Put you straight for the title so when you come back.
No, I don't think they will, and I wouldn't want that, to be honest. You know, I've never had it easy, you know, and I want to earn my achievements, you know. So I I was only joking before. I'm certainly not asking for a title shot when I come back.
Who are you looking at fighting?
I'd like to fight the winner of Machida and Munoz. You know, I mean, obviously, I agreed to fight Mark, but if he loses on Saturday night, then it's not really interesting to me anymore. If Machida wins, I'd like to fight Machida. But the middleweight division right now is more stacked than it's ever been. It really is. It's exciting now. So my job's getting harder and harder by the minute, but exciting times.
Questions in two parts. First one, do you think that the weight cut will affect Machida because it's first time at middleweight? And the second thing is, do you think he'll stay at middleweight if Anderson wins the belt?
To be honest, the first part, I don't think the weight cut should affect him. You know, it's no secret that Machida is quite a small middleweight. You know, he's. I think when he weighs in at light heavyweight, he gets on the scale at 2 or 3, something like that. You know, week in the fight, I'm 203 pounds. So with a little bit of dieting, I'm assuming he could get himself down to somewhere in the 190 something pound range pretty easily. Yeah, he's going to have to cut weight, but he's a professional fighter. You know, he comes from a good team. He's got good coaches. You know, it should be pretty easy for him. Sorry, what was the second part?
Do you think he'll stay at middleweight if Anderson wins the belt?
I mean, only he can answer that question, really. You know, but I mean, they all say they don't want to fight each other. I guess we'll find out, won't we? I guess we'll find out how honourable and loyal they really are.
What's your pick for Saturday? Is it TKO or decision?
I think Munoz will win by TKO. Machida will win probably by TKO. Third round, that's what I'm thinking. But hey, I do a bit of analyst work for Fox in America, and they always make us pick, and I always get it wrong. So do not go and bet on my advice, because you'll lose. Unfortunately.
We'll test that. What have you got down as fight of the night?
Fight of the night. Well, I think Ross Pearson and Melvin Gillard definitely has an ability for that. You know, Ross is always exciting. You know, he always comes to fight. You know, Melvin Gillard is the same way. I think it's a tough fight for Ross. You know, obviously I'm rooting for Ross, and I think he can win, and I want him to win. Melvin Gillard is inconsistent. Yeah. You know, sometimes he looks, you know, like he could be world champion, and other times, you know, he doesn't. And I think it's all down to his training. It all depends what Melvin Gillard turns up on the night, but that definitely has fireworks written all over it for sure. Yeah, I can see it.
Did the Munoz fight mean what was the game plan going into that fight? And also, is moving up the division ever an option for you?
Yeah, well, I used to fight at light heavyweight, so and I was 15-0 at light heavyweight. Only ever lost one fight. A very controversial, some might say, split decision to Rashad Evans, former champ Rashad Evans, I should say. I won that fight, Carl. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. So yeah, so going back up to light heavyweight certainly is a possibility. Right now I'm focused on the middleweight. I mean, middleweight is really where I should be. You know, that's my size frame really. What was the first part? Sorry.
The game plan going into
oh yeah, the game plan against Munoz. I mean, it was just to beat him up, you know what I mean? Not let him take me down. That fight was pretty simple. Either he was going to take me down and control me on the floor, or I was going to keep it on the feet. You know, whichever one could win that battle wins the fight. You know, and you know, he's a good wrestler, but you know, I think I've got pretty good takedown defense. So I was expecting to get taken down, you know, no doubt here and there, just like he should expect to get punched in the face a bit. But the thing is, in a 5-round fight, trying for takedowns is a lot easier. Not easier, but it's trying for takedowns is harder than defending them, you know. And to continually be trying to get that takedown, you know, throughout a 5-round fight, you know, he would start retiring, and then, you know, I was expected to win by TKO probably in the 4th round, something like that. But everybody has game plans, you know. You get punched in the face and goes out the window.
You say he lost to Rashad and it was like a dodgy decision.
He won the fight, I was just kidding.
And Chair as well, they were both close decisions and they probably could have gone your way. Which one hurt you the most out of it?
Do you know what? None of them really hurt, you know. When I fought Vanderlei Silva, I thought I won that fight as well, but you know, it's all part of the journey. You know, it is what it is. I'm not bitter about any of it. You know, I've had a great career and it's transformed my life. And yeah, I'm certainly not bitter. You know, excuse me. You're going to try and grow as a fighter, you know, and recognise why you lost it. You know, ultimately, they were close fights. you know, and the judges felt that he should have won that fight, you know. So really, that was my fault, letting it be so close in the first place, you know. And so you got to evaluate your performance, look at what you did wrong, look at what, you know, you could have done better in the future, you know. And the reason I'm not bitter is because after every loss I've done that, and I feel I've always come back and learned from my mistakes and done better, you know.
Out of all your fights, so win or lose, is there one you wish you could just like redo?
Yeah, Dan Henderson. Definitely would love to redo that one. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, Craig. Yes, mate.
Are you in LA for like full-time emigrating now, or just for the fighting career?
No. I mean, you know, I knew this was going to come up, but it's not a case of like I've turned my back on England or nothing like that. You know, I mean, life's to live in. You know, I mean, I fight for the UFC, and I can be anywhere in the world. Apart from, you know, as long as I turn up on that night in shape, I've got to fight. So, you know, I started travelling and I started going out to California just to train and broaden my horizons in terms of training, you know, because as a martial artist, you know, because that's what we are, as martial artists, you've got to constantly try and evolve and learn new techniques, you know, and train with new people. And I started going out there and I started making friends out there. It's a great lifestyle, you know, and whilst I've got a work visa there, so it's not permanent, I'm not out there forever. I don't have a green card, I just have a work visa, you know, that I'm utilising at the moment. I'm getting a bit of sunshine and, you know, getting out of the rain for a little bit, you know.
Since you moved to America, what aspects of like again?
Do you know what? I mean, it's not like, because everybody talks about wrestling, it's not like every gym you walk into and it's full of these amazing hardcore wrestlers. Yes, there is more access to wrestlers, but it's not like that. And it's not a case of that you can't really have a successful career training in England. People think now you have to go to America to train. It's not the case at all. You know, I only recently just went out to America. You know, I trained and fought in England all my career. So, you know, that certainly isn't necessary. But one thing that I would note, a major difference is just the level of professionalism that's involved in the sport out there. You know, the recognition of the sport, and, you know, the access to training partners. There's a lot more training partners. There's an MMA gym on every corner, it seems. You know, so there's a lot of people to train with and more recognition for what you do, which then leads on to more opportunity. You know, and you have, as a professional fighter or as an athlete, you only have a small career, so you've got to try and make the most out of it while you can. You know, so out there, you know, you can capitalise on it a little bit more. So that's just what I'm trying to do. Yes, sir.
Having just witnessed UFC 166, possibly the fight of the year between Diego Sanchez and Dilma Melendez, whatever you want to call it, like the century, is there anyone you really want to get involved in the proper slugfest with?
Yeah, you know, I mean, as you said, that was an amazing fight at the weekend. And you're right, you know, when you sit there and you watch it, you know, and you're a fighter yourself, it inspires you, you know, you want to put on those type of performances and those type of fights, you know, but on the flip side, you know, apart from having a bad eye, I've still got all my brain cells, you know what I mean? So standing there and, you know, with your chin up in the air and getting punched like that isn't necessarily the smartest thing if you want a long career. But, you know, it certainly is exciting, and they're the type of fights you want to put on, to be honest, you know, especially when people are paid so much money. But who is there? I don't know. Do you know, whoever my opponent is, I want to fight him pretty badly. It's just something inside me, you know, I've always been a competitor, and if I know that that's the guy. So to answer your question, right now there's nobody that stands out. But as soon as, before I had nothing against Marmunos, but then as soon as they said we were fighting, in my head I was like, I hate Marmunos, you know. So, but now I like him again.
So we also got this fight coming up, so versus Whiteman 2.
Yes.
After that, who do you actually think deserves the next title shot? We got guys like Vitor and Jagari. Who would actually deserve that in your opinion?
To be honest, I don't think you can argue against Vitor. You know, I mean, Vitor's been knocking everybody out, myself included. So, you know, you've got to give it to Vitor. The problem is, you know, the problem is, we all know what the problem is. She's fight down in Brazil where you can get away with taking testosterone. You know, so, but we'll see. Sorry, UFC. I'll get some shot down for that one.
Question for Karen. Do you have any superstitions or rituals going to UFC event?
I have what, sorry?
Any rituals or superstitions going to UFC event?
No, none at all. I'm just scared if I don't fall over, that's the thing. I'm like, please don't. But no, nothing, no. No, it's just...
Follow the Saturday, that's right now. All of a sudden.
Well, I was yeah, that's all right, yeah. No, I don't wear heels, I wear trainers, so it's all very sporty, so it's all fine. Just get that, you know, like the trainer's gonna like bash into me or anything. But no, it's been absolutely fine at the moment, but please don't fall over. Yeah, but it's all good, it's all fun, so I'm looking forward to Saturday. It's gonna be a really good night. So, no.
Has everybody got tickets here? Who hasn't? No, but who has tickets?
Yeah, woo!
Can we get some?
Yes, we have some tickets. I don't know. I don't think we have enough for everybody to put a hand up. All right, come on. Who's got a good question anyway?
I have a good question.
Yes, mate.
How far do you think Luke Barnett can go?
Pardon?
How far do you think Luke Barnett can go?
Yeah, you know, I mean, Luke's a great talent. He's certainly huge for the middleweight. He's 6'6", and you know, the one thing that I know about Luke, and I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to pretend I know him fantastically well. I just know him since he come off the Ultimate Fighter. We trained a little bit, and I see him at events like this, and you know, we chat and whatever. And he's a very, very, very nice guy. But one thing that I do know is that he's willing to do the necessary things, you know, to be successful. You know, and whether that's traveling out to Portland to train with to Oregon to train with Chael, or you know, whatever those steps are, the sacrifices. I know he's willing to make them. So somebody that has the physical attributes is willing to make the sacrifice and willing to do the hard work, they can go all the way. So I don't see why Luke couldn't do that.
Can you see anyone taking the title off Cain Velasquez? Heavyweight.
Can I see what?
Anyone taking the heavyweight title off Velasquez?
Yeah, I mean, right now Cain looks, you know, he looked unstoppable Saturday night. But I have got to say, I mean, Junior Dos Santos, I used to say was one of my favourite fighters to watch. But I just thought he had a bad performance on Saturday. It just wasn't. What was his game plan? To lean against the fence? Yeah, you know, I mean, because he defended the takedowns, but his footwork wasn't very good. He needed to work on his footwork. If he used a lot more footwork and circled away from the fence a little bit, he could have won that fight. Because every time he threw a good punch, he'd connect. But yeah, you know, I mean, Cain is just, he's an animal. Fabrizio Verdun should be an interesting fight. He's a big heavyweight. Dangerous on the floor, and he's good on the feet these days as well, so maybe Verdun, who knows.
Daniel Cormier is suggesting he's going to move down to 4-5 and probably showing John Shaw the other side. What do you think? Who do you see winning that fight?
I mean, I've got to be careful because I do some analyst work with Cormier here, but to be honest, after that on Saturday night, I mean, he was trying to take Roy Nelson down, and Roy Nelson stopped him, you know, so, and John Jones has just got the reach. I mean, Daniel's not a particularly tall guy. He's very, very effective. He's an incredible wrestler, and, you know, he obviously strikes well. But, you know, John has been, you know, he's certainly battle tested. He's fought the best of the best in what is known to be the best division in the UFC. So I think it's hard, just because somebody's an incredible wrestler, you know, which Daniel is, doesn't automatically give you, you know, it doesn't mean you're going to win the fight. So, you know, I'd probably lean towards John in that fight.
How do you think Jimmy will get on the weekend and you see himself on the title in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. Jimmy's an incredible talent, you know, a great addition to this card. You know, I mean, some great English fighters on at the weekend. Unfortunately, I'm not one of them, but Jimmy, I think that's a good fight for him. It's Brian Jimmo, right? That's who he's fighting, yeah. He's a tough, Brian Jimmo's a tough guy, but I think Jimmy May was just too good for him, just too good, and you know, I think after Saturday he'll still be undefeated and could find himself in a title fight within, you know, another year, 18 months. Anyone?
Is there a time scale on when your eyes are going to be better, and if the winner of Saturday night is available, is there anybody else you've got your eye on fighting?
Yeah, 6 months. 6 months I'll be back in the octagon. Is what I'm looking at. So March. I know there's an event on in London in March, so that'd be nice to fight at that. Regarding who, the winner of this fight on Saturday would be good. Failing that, you know, I mean, I'm not even thinking about that right now, to be honest, but there's a lot of great fighters, you know. The winner of this one is what I'm thinking of, but who knows? We'll see.
Question to your eye patch. Did you have to wear it all the time, and do you scare some people with it? Or?
Yeah, no, I have the eye patch. It's in the hotel room. Yeah, my doctor was here now, I'd be going crazy. I'm not supposed to go anywhere without glasses on or an eye patch. Because, you know, nobody knows. I mean, say Carly had a jacket there, and she put a jacket on, it swung out, and just kind of clipped me in the eye a little bit. You know, the glasses will protect my eye, or the eye patch will protect it. But in California, you can kind of walk around with sunglasses on, even indoor. In Manchester, you know, I don't want to be that guy. Do you know what I mean? There's a term they use in America, douchebag, and I think that would fit quite nicely there.
Do you have any pre-fight rituals?
Yeah, I have no pre-fight rituals whatsoever. I'm not superstitious, you know what I mean? I'm confident in the training that I do, and every fight's the same, you know what I mean? You see people in the locker rooms and they're practicing this and they're practicing that, and they're doing arm bars and they're doing all this stuff, and I think, well, you don't know it by now, mate. It's a little bit late, you know. So I just kind of, I just get a good sweat on, and then I'll find a nice quiet corner. I go sit down, I close my eyes. I think about everything I've been through to get me to where I am today. All the sacrifices I made. I think about the first fight I ever had in some crappy sports hall, you know, to now, you know, I'm in an arena with 20,000 people out there screaming, and I think of all the highs and lows I've been through and what I want to achieve, and that kind of gets me where I need to be, and then I go and do it, you know. No, I mean, I think myself and most fighters will tell you, we don't really get scared. It's the fear of losing, you know. The fight really is just a harder sparring session. You know, I'm not scared when I step in that I'm going to get punched or kicked or it's going to hurt. You know, if that was the case, you wouldn't do it. But I'm afraid I'm going to fail as a competitor. You know, that's what drives me to train. And you know, 8 weeks, 2 months of sacrifice comes down to one moment. If you lose, obviously there's financial ramifications, you know, as well. You're failing in the sport, you know, people like me, if you like me, you've talked a lot going into it as well, so you've got to back that up. You might make a bit of an arse out yourself. So yeah, there's a lot of things riding on it, but fear in the sense of actually fighting somebody, it doesn't exist, not for me anyway.
I just wondered, over and then over top of the atmosphere then,
for me, I think the crowds out here are better than anywhere else in the world, and I'm not just saying that, you know, to please you guys and because I'm English and I'm biased. The crowds out here have just been unbelievable. I mean, the 2 times I fought at the MAN, the first time when I fought Elvis Syndicate, UFC 70, when I walked out and the crowd, you know, I mean, I'm a lucky man, you know what I mean? I know you guys, I don't know if you're there or not, but you've always supported me, and you know, I don't take that for granted. The crowd was just unbelievable, and I completely lost all track of what I was doing, because you're supposed to walk to the octagon nice and slowly, and the cameraman follows you, and, you know, and I just, adrenaline took over. I sprinted to the octagon, tried to run in, I said I got my clothes on, I go, whoa, what are you doing, you bad man? You know, to take your clothes off and whatever, get your Vaseline on. But, so yeah, so the crowds out here are the best for me.
I was right at the side for UFC 120 as you were around.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable. The crowds out here they're pretty good,
Charlie, what's your role been like from where you've been to the UFC right now?
It's been fun. It's been, when I got the UFC, I was like, ooh, I'm loving this. And then we did Wembley, my first one was Wembley, and that was really cool. But I did, before that, I did a lot of like TV commercials, music, I did modelling, and then I did the music business, so I was a singer and dancer, and then UFC come along, and now I'm here. So, and I am a qualified personal trainer as well, so I'm into fitness. Fitness is my passion, I love it. So that's my role.
Yeah, we are supposed to be steering, I don't know how we do this, by the way, UFC PR people. We're supposed to steer this towards health and fitness, okay? But I don't know how I can influence your answers other than saying you're supposed to be asking questions about health and fitness. Oh, go on. Yeah, go ahead, Carly. I'll let you speak.
Fitness, yeah, I love fitness. I'm a proper gym bunny. Yeah, I'm into, that's my road, really. And TV, so I'd be presenting that sort of side.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I don't know, when when I was a kid, I never knew what I wanted to do, and I was always very jealous of people that had a defined career path, you know. And I went to college and I did an advanced electrical engineering, which I had absolutely no interest in whatsoever. So I never saw that one through, and I don't know, you know. I mean, I kind of wanted to be a DJ for a while. Then I realised I was never going to be Carl Cox, and so I'm not black for a start. But, so I called that a day. I don't know, I would have found something. But I started doing this, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
What, if anything, do you think the UK market is missing from like bringing the UFC back here on a more regular basis?
It's really simple, and it's something that they have in place now. I mean, in 2006, the UFC opened an office here, and you know, they've been working hard to raise the profile of the sport. And the fan base has been great, but the thing is, most of the fights are on at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, and it's hard to grow a fan base and attract new fans and to the casual sports fan when the events are on at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, unless you're a hardcore fan and you watch it online the next day, or you stay up late and watch it, you're just not going to know about it. Fortunately now with BT Sport, you know, and they're investing in the market. I know the UFC are still, they're going after this market aggressively. They're going to be putting on a lot of events now around Europe and around the UK. For our time zone. So you know, there's going to be 10 fights a year now that are going to be on, you know, 6, 7 o'clock at night, and that's what you need. You know, like in America, I'll sit down with my son, you know, I'll barbecue some food, whatever, we'll sit down, you know, it's a family thing, we sit and watch the fights. In England, you know, they were always in bed, and you know, I'd be up 3 o'clock in the morning watching the fights, and then in bed all day the next day because you're knackered, you know, so that was always the problem.
You said before about those M&A all around the UK, where they get that?
Get what, sorry?
Where there's M&A gyms everywhere, like you said.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it's getting there slowly. I mean, in America now, the level of acceptance is completely different. You know, I mean, it's on Fox TV. You know, so you've got it alongside, you know, the NFL, the NBA, you know, football, basketball, things like that, and then it cuts straight to UFC. So that's the company it's in, and that's the, you know, the kind of level of acceptance it has. You still don't see it in the newspapers out here, not much. I mean, some newspapers, but even when there's an event on, you flick through the back pages, you know, and you see football, nothing else. You know, even some big boxing fights don't get covered. Why is that, Gareth?
What's that? Sorry, what's that?
Well, yeah, I see you paying attention there. Why don't the papers cover it, Gareth? Gareth Davis, Daily Telegraph. I don't have a favourite female fighter. I mean, I've got nothing against female fighters. You know, more power to them. But, you know, I'm not sexist. But who the hell's going to cook my dinner if they're in there? There's plenty of cooking and cleaning to be done, surely. No, I'm nothing against female fighters, you know, but I am going to say, for me, I'm not into it. What can I say? No, good for you, like, if you do it, if you practice it, I think it's fantastic. I think the benefits for it, and I think there's no reason why women can't do it. I'm just saying that for me, I don't find it, I'm just going to shut up, Carla.
Think better.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I mean, he said he wants to, so if he wants to, when I was a kid, my dad especially, you know, he was always very supportive and helped me out and drove me everywhere and always gave me a lot of support. So if my son wanted to do it, I would give him the same support. But it's a tough business. It's a real, you know, on the flip side of it, I wouldn't want him to do it because, you know, there's a lot of great fighters out there. There's so many great fighters. And you go to any gym, there's a lot of good talent that you look at and you think, this guy could be world champion. You know, but he's absolutely broke and he's fighting for 50 quid or 100 quid or whatever, you know. I used to sleep in my car. You know, it hasn't always been like this. You know, there's been years and years of sacrifice. So, and it's a cutthroat business. You know, people are all over you 1 second, you lose a couple of fights, no one wants to know you. So it's an emotional roller coaster as well, you know, so it's hard to deal with. So, and he's got a brain. Yeah, so it fits me.
On the subject of sons, I've just got a baby, and what's the first martial art you should take young kids to, in your opinion?
I mean, there's so many good martial arts, it's hard to pinpoint one out. I started off doing Japanese Jiu-Jitsu as a kid, and which is kind of MMA, to be honest. But I think martial arts for children is a fantastic thing. Discipline, respect, fitness, coordination, you know, obviously the physical aspects as well. So you can't go wrong getting your kids involved in martial arts.
Jones Gustafsson, how did you have it? I had Gustafsson.
I thought Gustafsson won that fight, yeah. I thought, but I always get very emotional, you know what I mean? So half the time I'm probably not watching the fight. I'm going, oh my God, he's winning, he's winning, he's winning, he won! What do you mean? And then if you watch it back, you think, oh, maybe he did win. You know what I mean? So I'd have to watch it again, but on the night, I thought Gustafsson won the fight. Yeah, anyone at the back?
Two questions. First one for yourself, second one for both of you. Being health and fitness. TRT, obviously, you're really outspoken about it. The UFC is an organisation, it's not a regulatory commission, but there's probably at least 20 fighters we know of that are on TRT. And from interviews I've seen, probably at least 10 or a dozen more that say they'd be open to it. Obviously, it's hard, especially in America, where a lot of people just walk into the doctors and do. But is there anything specific that you think that the UFC or anything that can help with to even it out?
I know that the UFC testing obviously is the main thing, because here's what people do: they go into a doctor in America, they say my testosterone's low, you know, they're friends with that doctor, or you know, it could be a bed doctor or whatever, and they say yeah. Because after the Vitor Belfort fight, and he came out, he was on TRT. I was having my knee looked at, and the doctor said, he says to me, he says, have you ever thought about TRT? I said, no, I don't need TRT. Believe me, I'm a bad-tempered bastard. There's one thing I'm not short of, it's testosterone. I said, so I know my levels are good. He goes, well, we'll just get him checked anyway. So I said, yeah, okay, then why not? You know, won't do any harm. So they came back and said, yeah, levels are through the roof. Yeah, you're fine. He says, do you want, would you like one anyway? You know, so there you go. So they'll give you the exemption certificate. The levels go super high in training, and then they just bring it down for the fight. So that's what's going on. Sorry, what was the question? And the UFC need to test all the fighters that say they're on TRT. They need to be tested throughout the camp, which I know they are making that commitment to doing. I know Dana was talking about it recently, saying that they're going to be doing it with Vitor and Dan Henderson. You know, but. I just disagree with it. You know, I mean, there's only 2 sports in the whole world that allow TRT: boxing and MMA. And these are combat sports. We're not kicking a ball around. You know, somebody could die. Somebody, it's a combat sport. We're trying to take each other out. We're not trying to put a ball in a net. You know, and they can't take TRT. But in a sport where I can kick somebody in the head as hard as I can, I can get a doctor to give me extra testosterone. I think the whole thing is just ridiculous.
The second question is for both of you. This is my friend's question, we won't ask it. What's your favourite dinosaurs?
What's my favourite dinosaurs? Wow, what a question, huh? Oh.
You won't ask it, so...
I was going to say, just hold on a minute.
T-Rex. Is that alright? I love dinosaurs, by the way.
She loves them.
Yeah.
I would say T-Rex, you know, that was always my favourite when I was a kid, but I'm going to go with the Triceratops.
Wow.
Yes.
You had 2 close fights with Chael and Richard. Who wins that one in your life?
Oh, Chael and Richard, yeah, close fight. I think I was going to say Richard, but I don't know. I mean, look at Chael get shot, and it was fantastic. It's a tough fight. It's a tough fight. I would lean towards Richard, having fought both of them. Who knows? It's a close fight. On paper, that's a very close fight. Richard's a better striker. Richard's probably more athletic. Chael's a better wrestler, and Chael's better at implementing his game plan in terms of taking people down. They both come in great shape. It's a close fight. Sorry, there was someone there. Yeah, I think they definitely come to Manchester once a year from now on. Yeah, no, of course, yeah, no, I think they're going to do the same venues, one date every year, so one in London, one in Manchester, one somewhere else, I'm not sure. But, hey mate, if you want to get on a flight and watch me fight in Vegas, we're free. You know, we don't need to come from Manchester for you to do that. Someone at the back there, I don't know any of you. I see some random hands. Sorry, about what? Okay. Yeah, well, first off, Chael as a person, you know, well, he's kind of turned that corner now. Everybody used to think he was, you know, a bit of a bad guy, whatever. But now I think everybody knows. Chael's a fantastic person. He really is. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's a friendly person. He's a hell of a competitor. He's the best promoter in the business. He really is. You know, he's a, you know, and as a fighter, you know, he's incredible. You know, not the most. You know, he's a wrestler, but he's an exciting wrestler to watch. You know, his stand-up isn't the best, but as a fighter, you know, he's one of the best in the business. And as a person, he's great. He really is. And he has his career on TV. You know, obviously we're in England, in America. He's all over the TV now. He's all over the Fox network. He's you know, commentating on the UFC and on football and all kinds of things. So yeah, he's doing very well.
Have you had a chance to say goodbye to him since it's been announced that he's doing Ultimate Fighter in Brazil? Because he might not make it.
Not yet. Any fitness questions for Carly? How she gets in fantastic shape for these events? What's her training? What's her training regimen for this event?
Oh, my optional I like resistance training, cardio, all that sort of business. Do a lot of like fight work. That keeps me going around the octagon. So thank you.
Two questions. First one, what things should you walk around you next to?
Do you know what? It's just a good song. It's just a good fight song. I remember because when I first came to the UFC, Dana White actually picked London's Calling from The Clash, and then I was fighting in Manchester, and I was in HMV actually one day, and I was just looking at something. I saw on the back of the Blur song too, and I thought, that's a good one. So, and I just changed it, and it stuck because that night, I mean, obviously the words are pretty easy, woohoo, anyone can get on that one. So the entire arena was all, you know, singing the chorus, you know, and now people expect it. And then when I lost against Dan Henderson, my next fight back, I remember. It was here, it was at the MEN, I was fighting Dennis Kang, and I wanted to change my music because in my previous fight, obviously I got knocked out, and I thought, right, well that fight has ran its course, I want to change my music, so I can't remember what it was now, and I said to somebody at the UFC, I said, I want to change my music, I want this song, and the message I got back was that Dana says, you can't change your song because it's all part of the Michael Bisping experience, and he was dead right, because, you know, it is what it is. It is my song. Yeah.
Alright. With the fighters nowadays, you see a lot of fighters gas out in the first and second round. With fighters like yourself who can go ultra distance all the way. There's lots of low weight fighters that can't go distance. Let's say, for example, Blaze and Seabout. Do you think that the sport needs to evolve to a stage where these athletes can all go 5 rounds and they can make it look competitive without after like the second, third round?
Yeah, no, it's a very good point and a good question. As professional fighters, we can't guarantee that we're going to win the fight. But there's two things that there's only two things we can guarantee or that we should do. A, that we turn up on weight, and B, that we're in shape to go 3 or the 5 rounds. Otherwise, you're not doing your job. You know, I signed a contract to say I'm going to fight this guy on this day at this way, and if I'm not in shape and I'm not on weight, then you should be cut from the organisation. You know, and to see, especially lightweights, you know, in the second round and the flailing their arms around and you know, the breathing out their ass, it's just ridiculous. We're professional fighters. I personally can't understand it. This is all we do. This is your job. It's what you're going to do on a daily basis. Get ready for this fight. Run, hit some pads, do something. And if you do that enough, you should, you know, fight, spar, you know, train.
With your experience, you've seen a lot of people in the gym doing weights and not doing as much cardio. Let's say.
Well, the cardio is the hard thing. I mean, you know, to lose weight, you know, everybody says run, and nobody wants to run because it's a pain in the ass. I'm quite lucky. I don't mind it. You know, I like it. But sparring actually is the best thing for getting you in fight shape. You know, because that's what you're doing when you fight. You're sparring really, but it's a hard spar, obviously. But that sparring mimics a fight better than anything else. And again, people don't want to spar because they don't like getting hit. I know some fighters, they have spar. Some do it for other reasons. Other fighters don't like to run. You know, other fighters don't push themselves. You know, you've got to push yourself to that next level. You know, and when it starts hurting and you start running out of gas, you know, that's when you stop. That's when you've got to push yourself. So, you know, only the fighters themselves can account for that. Pardon? Best advice for fighters coming up. I mean, just find a good gym. Find a good gym with people you know and trust, and enjoy it. You know, if you enjoy it, great. If you enjoy it, you'll see results. If you don't enjoy it, then obviously it's not for you. But for aspiring fighters, you're only as good as the people that you train with. You know, so if you're not training with good people, you need to move on.
When you finish your fighting career, obviously it's in a bit of a big pot. Do you see yourself going into being an analyst or going into the training side?
Yeah, I mean, a bit of both really. You know, I've actually got a contract with Fox at the moment, and you know, I dabble in a couple of other things here and there that I won't bore you with the details with. But I certainly want to train and manage fighters as well. Certainly want to train fighters. I feel I've got a lot. I've learned a lot over the years on how to train a fighter. Yeah, I would love to do that, and plus it would still keep me involved with the sport that I love, you know. So you know, I could be an old man getting flown around, you know, someone else paying the bills. You know, I fly my quarterback around and take them out for food every night. Someone could do that to me when I'm training now.
Would you go back to the UK? Did you get trained in coaching? You know, those places saying the things?
Well, I mean, you know, that's a tough one. It depends where I'll be living at the time. You know, I mean, because you know I've got kids, so you know, I mean, I'd love to do it here, but I've got 3 kids, and so you know, if they're settled, I don't know where they'll be.
Both of you, what's your favorite workout?
Oh, my favourite workout. I like to start off with cardio, and then I move on to Viper, TRX. I just swim a lot. I love to swim. That keeps me moving on, and resistance training really. So running, everything really. I'm a real gym boy, so yeah, that's my favourite workout really.
For me, it's sparring. I love sparring, and I think that's why my eye is well messed up, because I spar so much. You know, I mean, when I'm training for a fight, I spar in the mornings and the evenings sometimes. You know, and that's what got me into this. I remember when I was 8 years old, I went to a jiu-jitsu club. And at the end of it, we put gloves on, we just had a tear up, and that's what, you know, 8 years old, that's what kept me going back week after week. I wasn't interested in any other stuff, I just wanted to put the gloves on at the end. So the sparring for me, I love it. But I you know, I love going to the gym. You know, at the moment I'm there every day, just you know, trying to keep in shape.
Apart from like your own camp, your own fight camp, has there been like another camp around the world that you think that, apart from your own, that you might have been suited to joining?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great camps out there. There's a lot of great camps that I'd love to train with. You know, there's restrictions, obviously, where you live, you know, and things like that. And you know, coaches, you don't want to be disrespectful. You start working with one coach, you can't just go jump and start training with another one, because you know, there's politics involved with things like that. But there's many great trainers and camps around the world that I would love to train with.
Right, so as an athlete, not as a fighter, but as an athlete, you try and keep yourself in tip-top condition between fights. Because recently, why I say this, because I recently saw a tweet on John Jones on Chicago.
Yeah, with the big belly.
Yeah, before training camp and after training camp, so that's the question.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, I was guilty, if you will, from kind of doing the Ricky Hatton thing for a bit. I was putting weight on there in between fights, and as an athlete and as a fighter, that's not good for a long career. So now I try and monitor that, and I try not to do that. I try to stay in shape, and you know, but also on the flip side of it, you know, it's so hard. You know, the amount of training and sacrifice you have to make, what goes into a fight camp. For a fighter to prepare, you have no idea. You know, a true fight camp at the highest level is such an amount of discipline and work. You know, it's, you know, to stay in that kind of shape is really hard. You can't do it all year round. You know, yeah, and John Jones, you know, you know, I think he's earned a slice of pizza here and there, so good for him.
I've got one more question for Hardy. As a female involved in the institution of UFC, would you think of Ronda Rousey being a kind of ambassador for the sport?
I think that's really cool. Like, she's a role model for women. So, and to see her fight, we've got Rosie on Saturday to see her fight. It's going to be absolutely amazing, that fight. So I'm all for it. All for it. So.
Yeah, I was kidding before about the female thing. No, I was kidding, and I'm wishing Rosie the best of luck, by the way. Best of luck to Rosie this weekend. I'm sure she's going to be Manchester proud. And, you know, the fighting talent in the women, in the female division, it is really good. I was just, you know, just having a bit of fun. Sexist old bastard that I am. Anybody?
What do you make the recent cuts of recent hours in Macau?
You know, it's a tough one. I mean, he did hold that submission on. Pardon? He's done it before. He's known for it as well, and he did it in the Abu Dhabi Championships as well. You can't do that. These are people's careers, and everybody knows. And I saw Dana said this. So it's kind of like I'm stealing his line, but it's absolutely right. Anybody that trains MMA or does any kind of jiu-jitsu or some, wrestling, submission wrestling, knows that the heel hooks are the most dangerous one. And when people go for them on me in training, as soon as they get a position, I say, yeah, you can have that. I'm not bothered whether or not he goes around saying I tapped him out. I say, yeah, you got that. So for him to hold that on like that when people attack him, that could have ended his career. Did he deserve to be caught? I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, that was it was. Who knows? It's not for me to say. 2 more questions, and I still have these tickets to give out.
I know we do, don't we?
Let's make the good ones. Oh, the 2 best people I've sparred with in the gym. I don't know. Do you know? I tend to get my arse kicked quite a lot in the gym. The 2 best people, I'm not sure, but right now, it's nobody that you would know. It's no one that you would have heard of. So, pardon?
What about Ricky Hatton?
Ricky Hatton? No, I haven't sparred Ricky, no. No, I haven't sparred with Ricky. He took me on the pads though. I did some training on the pads with Ricky, prior to this fight. I'll say this right now, he's an unbelievable boxing coach, great pad man, and he runs a great gym down there. So if anybody's into boxing, I will go and see Ricky because he's a fantastic coach.
If all the current champions were to fight at one weight, the same weight, your weight, exactly the same weight, who would win?
So pound for pound, who is the best, is what you're saying? Pardon?
UFC 1.
Oh, you mean from all the champions throughout time? Okay, oh, that's a good question. Carly, what do you think? I'll put you on the spot.
Oh, I didn't know spot there.
Champions throughout the course of history of the UFC, who would win? Come on, mate, that's a bit of a hard question. But see, the thing is, the level of the skill level, the talent is getting better and better all the time. So I think you'll probably find that the champions we have now are better than the champions of yesteryear and the generation before that and the generation before that. So I think John Jones or George St. Pierre. I think one of those 2 guys. George St. Pierre isn't the most pleasing guy, but he's good at what he does and he wins fights. And he's not necessarily the most exciting fighter, but he wins fights and he sells pay-per-views. Last 2, I promise, for whoever's in charge. Well, no, Jose Aldo as well, he's good as well. No, the list goes on, then you can turn around and say, well, what about Anderson Silva? Well, what about Cain Velasquez? What about Chuck Liddell? Jose Aldo's up there as well. There's no shortage of talent in the UFC. That's always been the thing. Right, who are these? Pick one card.
This lady down here.
Oh, this lady here.
You say you're into fitness and all that, would you ever consider sparring with your legs?
Sparring, yeah. Well, I do kickboxing in my time, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm interested. Yeah, definitely. I would definitely take that. I have to get him to touch me, but yeah.
Last 2. I'm kidding. I enjoyed that question. It was really good. It sounds like I'm being so sarcastic. Right at the back. But you have to speak up because you're right at the back. Jacare. Well, the good thing about wrestlers is that not only can they take people down, they can stop takedowns. They determine where the fight's going to take place. So Jacare, I think, because you're talking about his jiu-jitsu skills, right? Because you're thinking Weidman will take him down and therefore get submitted. But Weidman will choose to keep the fight on his feet. But saying that, Jacare is looking pretty tasty on the feet these days. I think Weidman will beat him just because he knocked out or calm him. And let's not all start getting too carried away about Jacare just yet. Come on. Last one. Boom. Should have put your hand down then.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, this guy has good questions. Well-structured questions, I find.
Aaron wants me to ask you, do you can't wait for Saturday?
I can't wait for Saturday, yeah, I'm really, really excited.
No, do you cut weight? Do you cut weight? Will you be dieting down?
I can't wait, I said I can't wait. I can't wait, Saturday. I will be, I'll watch my way, I'll be healthy.
She'll be in the sauna.
I'll be healthy, but yeah.
She's having a cheeseburger back there before. Won't give me any.
No. But,
Alright, well listen, everybody, thank you so much for coming. I hope you haven't bored you. Round of applause for Carly. Again.